Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take a lot more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes to help us understand why your person's doing what they're doing. So you're a magnet of who and what comes into your life. So why would you attract a person that keeps you stuck in a lower vibration? Again, the person that triggers, any negative emotion, and those karmic mates do that. So again, the readings are healing because there's many different realities that play out at one time. So we don't actually have to be the victim all the time in the story. And I hope to create that awareness for you. All right. I also need to give a shout out to my favorite bracelet company in the world, Otter Spirit. And I know I say this every single time, but look at this bracelet. Look at it. It's watermelon chalcite. I love it. It's like, and then this, I picked them myself. Like they have a lot of different ones, but I like the rose chakra stones. Oh, good. So, we'll get to that after Daniel. So, you know, if you're needing any type of reminder, because I don't per se just believe that crystals are like a healing in the way that they can actually like really heal you. Do they represent psychological and emotional aspects of yourself? Yes. If you wear the crystal and you look at it, can it remind you to set the intention? Yes. Can you manifest because of that? Yes. So but you're the healing. You're the person that is the healer, not the bracelet. Understand that. Just like you meet people and situations and experiences that are going to teach you, that are going to show you. It's these karmic mates that are the hardest type of relationships because we're stuck in a place of anger a lot of times, just annoyed. Like Daniel, like I can't help it, but she's like, you're like, I like telling me, but I also know that you ended it and you feel relief, but you're also annoyed. You're just annoyed because there's always that connection, and you're welcome. And so that's the thing with karmic mates. We hold the cognitive dissonance, and that's where we want it, but we don't. And that this is what really creates that intimacy issue. And so I don't know why I start my readings or the way that I do, or why Daniel came on, and maybe his story is going to be that story. We don't know. We just don't know. But understanding you're a magnet of who and what comes into your life, you always get what you need, not what you want, but what you need. Just sometimes what you need comes in a good looking package, but it's the irony when you begin to see somebody different, they're not good looking anymore. Sometimes we're like, ugh. You know what I mean? It's like, what was I thinking? Beer goggles. No, trauma goggles. Trauma goggles. They distort our perceptions about ourselves and the world around us. Oh, okay. So let's see what the underlining energy is. The underlining energy is always the first card that I pull out, and it's the underlining energy that tells us why everyone's doing what they're doing. Really important when we're dealing with the person that wears masks and create facades and illusions. Victim. They're the victim in their situation, and you know that they're not. It's like you just know that they're not, but again, that's their default mechanism. Oh, well, guess what? If I can't gaslight, and if I can't I'm still going to try and gaslight. I'm just going to be the victim. It's never my fault. And that's why they never learn. I'm sure when you met this person, they told you about, that evil person that they dated before you, and how it messed up their mind, and how it gave them permission to kind of act like an asshole. That's like kind of the victim mentality. Again, unstructured. They wanted to keep it in a place of non-commitment almost, or like unstructured, just as there's no rhyme or reason. Like today might be nice, tomorrow I'm not nice, because guess what? I talk to Sally or Tommy or whoever. It depends. This person's very um compulsive, like they're very impulsive and compulsive. So again, that unstructured energy is, I don't want any rules. I don't want any rules. And so, but they're going to be the victim because, hey, you didn't tell me, or you didn't know, or you could have called me, or you could have, like always putting the blame back. And the problem is that this person didn't think that they were going to have such a strong connection. They see that synthesis is really the signs and the symbols all the time. Like everything reminds this person of you, and everything brings this person back to you because it's a spiritual connection. So that doesn't mean you're supposed to be with this person. Sometimes it's just to learn, to make you aware of something about yourself. But again, it's almost like this person knows it's time to come back. It's time to like drop the illusion. If they want to say something, then say it. Be transparent. But they also know that at this point, it probably would never go back to the way that it was. Like, when you first have that connection with someone, you're kind of like a child, like you look at it through innocence, the innocence, which by the way, intimacy, it's, I need to be safe with you. And this person did not make it that way. They ruined it. And now they're impatient. They're the victim waiting for you to come back. And what they see is, you ain't coming. You're not fixing this. It's like, because you changed. It's like this. So what happens is that this person's stuck in a place of shame. That's the underlining energy. That's their karmic theme that they keep reliving over and over and over and over and over again. And so because people become very intolerant, like, I've had enough of your shit. It's like, but so this person has done this before. That's why I said they started the relationship almost like, well, that bad relationship that I had before, or that person that I dated before was so fucked up. Or again, to make you believe that, to make you perceive that, but they never learn. Even if the person's fucked up, let me tell you something. It takes two to tango. So we still play a part in whatever that weird connection was. We don't have to be the abuser in the story, and we don't even need to stick around, but we have to say, why did I attract that person into my life? Like we did something. Everybody plays a part. Otherwise, spirit wouldn't bring the connection together. We'd be like, I didn't do anything. Person was fucked up. They came in and they played all these games, and so we have to look at the attachment styles. Understand your attachment style might be that, anxious because, hey, you were abandoned, emotionally not cared about, and this person is an avoidant because again, they had to be the parent, they had to be that. So the same karmic theme continues to play out. Thank you, Daniel. So again, so everything is just hard. It's like, okay, like the relationship doesn't need to be hard. We're always arguing. We're like, because a person's always getting triggered. They're always getting triggered because they need healing. And that's the way that the spirit clears itself. Because we're all perfect down to the core of who we are, because we all are the energy of unconditional love. It's the breath that we breathe, right? It's that uh, God is ubiquitous. It's part of the universe that works through you, that's inside of you, that gives you life. That's again unconditional love. So anything that blocks us from experiencing that energy, is going to play out as a karmic theme. And so it's like the relationship is hard. Everything is hard. And it's hard because again, this person never took the space to really learn what they've done. So it's like being in the same relationship over and over and over again. And we see what we look for. It's not, it is this person's fault for not healing, but it's like the reptilian mind will do that. Its job is to sense out any outside stimuli that's a threat. That's survival. We are primitive. That's survival. I mean, the cavemen were primitive. We are evolving into higher states of consciousness. We're realizing, hey, wait a minute, I don't really need to come from a survival state. There's enough to go around. It's like I'm not here by mistake. I'm here by the universe's design. I deserve love, even if I was born into a family that everything was hard. Everything was hard. It's like you might have grown up in a trauma bond relationship where your parents had that trauma bond, alcoholism, you know, um, any type of addiction or any type of, when a person cheats, adultery is going on, it's abandonment, whatever issues, or just checked out, where you can have a parent that's there but not there, that they're not interactive. They leave everything up to that other parent, and that parent is nasty because they don't feel like they have a partner. And they, again, take it out on the child because the parent's avoidant. That's for somebody. I don't know who that's for, but it's like I grew up in that environment. So everything's hard. Everything's hard. But everything's hard when we're not in the body, when we're not in the now, when we have a lack of a connection to the higher self, that God part of self, because only in the now do we get divine guidance through gut intuition, inner knowing. So if you can imagine it, you can create it. But if we're imagining what we're traumatized about, then again, yes, that's going to play out within a relationship over and over and over again, where the relationship is just very difficult because we can't get out of our own way, or you feel like the person can't get out of their own way. And then they become addicted to that drama. It's like where you're like, why do I feel like this person enjoys this? Well, because they do. Oh, they do. It's like because it gives them excitement. It's an addiction. But that's a compulsion. That's just a side effect of trauma. Where again, everything that they wind up building or you build with this person winds up just crumbling. It can't sustain itself because without the strength. And so this is what it's like to be in a relationship with this person. You make everything difficult. So that just means everything's a trigger. This person is constantly creating drama. And then as soon as you feel comfortable, then they're doing something to sabotage the relationship. So the relationship is hard. You're always talking about it. And then what you notice is life becomes very hard because it's a sign of abandonment. You become out of alignment with the universe. The universe says, that's a no-go. You're like out of alignment with me, which is the energy of unconditional love. You're like in fear. You're abandoning yourself. And that's against spiritual law. So you're never going to like your life. And sometimes people will see that you are moving on with your life, especially after you've been intolerant to somebody's bullshit. And now it's triggering them to be angry, is what you're going to notice. Because, hey, unless you play along, there's nothing. And if you move on and you create something, well, now this person looks like an ass. So I feel like there's a sense of that's too many sabotage. Yeah, I feel like this person sees that you're a shining star. They see this. They see that you are a shining star, and that again that you have like destiny. Your destiny is calling. Like as soon as you're not putting energy towards this person, you're again creating yourself. You don't have a problem being alone. You have a problem being with somebody. There's a belief that you can't have that love. When God says that's impossible because you are love. So again, that's what that core energy is. When we're born, we don't have perceptions of how we should be or what we should be. It's that the perceptions come from living in an environment that we were programmed by what we saw. So inherited trauma and then again being treated a certain way on top of it. So again, the relationship is always turbulence. And it's turbulence because again, just the unhealed trauma is always going to play out as karmic themes. So you'll say, I keep on experiencing this, or this person keeps experiencing that. And if you attracted this person. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't love you or that they don't like you. You have to see, again, why. And because, again, the cognitive dissonance is, okay, I know that they love me, but why does it look like that? And I don't care. It's like, it makes me feel bad. I feel the sexual energy between us, yet it's beyond physical attraction. It needs to be elevated to the expression of deep unconditional love. And so it's a karmic mate that is like, yeah, as long as they don't, heal, it stays on that low vibration. So it's not that you're crazy, like, oh, I don't have this connection with this person. You do. That's what makes this person not want to let go. It's like because of that attraction, that chemistry. I know this is more than a relationship, and there is a higher purpose to our connection. So again, this person just feels like they can't walk away, but they're not healed. So they have all the feelings of a twin flame, but it's their behaviorisms are not like doing it. So we look and see, what are the behaviorisms? Or what are they doing? So again, they're paranoid, which again, and they're paranoid being like, well, maybe I really ended this connection for good. Maybe I really pushed you away for good. Now you might be like, all this person did was push me away. So I don't really understand why. Well, they're used to dating people that fight for the relationship, that this person's usually very pampered. They perceived that they were someone that they weren't. They had a big ego. And that's why, again, they're living that shame. They're living that shame. It doesn't mean that they don't have a connection. What it means is that you aren't allowed to speak, again, your truth about anything with this person. And they're actually afraid to talk to you because they know that they did certain things that were wrong. So it's like, partially, I don't want to hear it. And I'm the victim. So I'm just going to be sad, and really what you see is a lot of laziness. So, and the reason why is because this person has a lot of anxiety from being paranoid. So they're like stuck and stupid, where they don't know what to do. But part of that is because they have a big ego, and which means they would have to be transparent. They would have to tell you this connection is meant for that. Again, there wouldn't be this passion that needs to be elevated to unconditional love. That means a person needs to surrender their ego. But again, if they're lazy, and what is understand, it's also because there's a lot of internal things going on there. You're not seeing that. What you're seeing is just somebody that's not doing anything. But they're really imbalanced. And what creates imbalance is too much thought. Just too much thought. Like, you're getting in your own way because, again, you care too much about what it's going to look like. And that's because then you can't strategize. And so it's like almost like I need to come in to you just right. And this person like really can't come in just right. They need to just be transparent. It's stupid. But this is what a spiritual block looks like. This is when you see the self-sabotaging behavior, because where you're like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Which, understand, like, this person always has that fear, like the relationship would never start. And really all they need to do is ask for forgiveness. But, they feel like the only way that you would accept them is if they, wined and dined and did a lot for you, because I feel like they didn't. And so they have money issues on top of it. So this person doesn't feel good about themselves and they never heal. So they might have money issues from a previous relationship because they're impulsive, and that's what I said. When a person's imbalanced, they're going to be impulsive. They're going to have addictive behavior. They're going to, cheat. They're going to lie. And they're also going to come back into your life like randomly. And the reason why is because this person, they're not grounded. They're imbalanced. Like I said, they're paranoid. And so what happens is all of a sudden this person gets triggered. And what you see is that, they just want to be back in the relationship, but they're like stuck in this victimhood, even though that they know that this is a past life connection and we're pulling it again, that they're impatient. So they keep on like seeing that so much time is going by and that you're not coming back. You're not fixing this. You're not doing anything. And so it's creating a lot of internal craziness for this person where they're not doing anything. So that if you're asking, it's almost like, no, they're not doing anything. They're just stuck and stupid. And because again of the betrayal that they caused. But what'll get them out is really jealousy, because this person doesn't really want to see you with anyone else. So it's like they're stuck. Their big ego backed themselves into a corner where it's like you're not fixing it. So it's either they're going to fix it or it's not going to get fixed. And the more time that passes, the more that you're probably not going to fix this. And it's like, and the more time that you're seeing this person for who they are. So there's all this anxiety because this person is like, do you see who I am? Like, do you still have feelings for me? I don't know if you have feelings for me. And they care too much about what it looks like. So we know that they're a karmic mate, that they're imbalanced, and they're imbalanced because they refuse to surrender their ego. That's where they are right now. Are they going to do anything eventually? I mean, I'm listening to my high self. A higher power is guiding me. So I feel like eventually, and that's because eventually they surrender their ego, but it's not in this reading. And so it's almost like because they get tired of fighting it, they get tired, they get tired. And so eventually they do surrender their ego, but you might have moved on and been like, I'm not waiting on you. Like, I don't want you, understand for each person, it's going to be different. But if it's a karmic mate, it's like, where are you like, nah, I don't think so. Well, I feel like for some of you guys, you actually do want it. And I say that because, there's a part of you that's like, well, I do. I do like love this person, but, they're not coming back right now, is what you see, because that they're in this energy of not wanting to surrender, but eventually they get really uncomfortable and they do. And like, but until then, you should be doing your healing, because Spirit says if they're not coming back now, what you should be asking is, why did I attract this person? And if you don't want this person, you should be asking that. And even if you do, you still need to ask yourself, because you can't go back into the same energy that was. You still need to integrate the spiritual lesson, because you attracted this person into your life because of certain energies that were not integrated, which means that there needed to be healing, or that there's aspects of yourself that you have not developed. And because you have not developed them, you think that they're broken aspects of yourself. And Spirit says, you are not broken. That's impossible. There's no such thing as a broken person. It's, if you put your pants on like a shirt, it's going to look really fucked up. And so is it wrong? Yeah, you can wear your pants like that, but you're not supposed to wear your pants like that. There's many different ways to do something. There's many different realities that play out. Some realities are going to be better for you than others. You're the alchemist of your life. Why would you want to be connected to a person like that, is what Spirit is saying. It's like, First card out, oppression. Second card out, misunderstood. Third card out is sing. Fourth card out is lies and secrecy. Overwhelmed. Safety and security. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we need one more. Self-sabotage. Well, so Spirit says, if you didn't grow up with that security, the safety and the security, and that could just be, I emotionally didn't feel safe, or it was, there really wasn't enough. And we had to grow up before our time because there was something that, affected it. But when it's like the lies and the secrets, it's usually that there's addiction or that there's adultery, there's ancestral karma, there's some sort of family karma that's going on there of self-sabotaging behaviorisms. And so again, if we grow up in that environment, we're conditioned. This is how ancestral karma is passed down. It's like it's passed down because you live in an environment and your perception is, I'm not safe, and security. And really our relationships, if we don't feel safe and secure in ourselves because we grew up in an environment that there wasn't really that security. And you can have both parents at home. I had both my parents at home, but my dad was an alcoholic and my mom was, mentally abusive and emotionally abusive and very like toxic. So, we didn't feel safe, even though our parents lived together. So you could live in that type of dynamic and that because of that, or you could just have a parent that was never home because they had to work all the time. See, there's only two energies, love and fear, but I'm going to tell you the spectrum. Like, because some people like, I had good parents, they were there, they weren't there often, but they worked all the time. So then you still didn't feel safe and secure. You still had to grow up before your time. It's not a blame game, but we have to understand where did this come from? Because a lot of times we won't want to do the healing work. And also because we're like, well, want to understand that self-sabotaging behavior doesn't come from the fact that we intentionally say, I'm not deserving of love. No one says that. No one says any of that. But again, growing up in an environment where it's imbalanced to the point that you're overwhelmed and you couldn't use your voice, you're going to be oppressed. That's what happens. It's like then no one's talking about what's going on in the house. No one's talking about the imbalances. Everyone's just pretending that everything's okay. But understand you're being programmed, and you're being programmed to, a lot of times settle for less, or, feel uncomfortable in a relationship or whatever it is. Understand this person that you were connected to definitely grew up in an environment that way. And now this is why you too grew up in an environment that way. And so, it'll seem like, well, you're misunderstood. Like you don't want to be in a relationship, or you like the toxic relationship, or because you're connected to that. But that's not what it is. What it is that trauma that you endured. Again, there's shadows, and those shadows are all about your safety and your security. When we feel that we're not deserving of it, again, that happens if our parents emotionally couldn't give it to us. Well, then self-sabotaging behavior comes into play, because then we try to help that person that's in balance. Spirit says that's abandonment of self. You can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. They might want you to fix them, save them. The victim will always want you to save them, but your job is not to save anybody. Save yourself. self-sabotaging behaviorism, and the fact that you'd ruin your own safety and security to for what? A lie? Because that's really what it is. Because this person like hasn't really built that emotional connection to you. It's like there's a lot of drama there, but that's not the same as feeling like being in a relationship that there's equal give and take reciprocity, where the person shows up for you, where they love you, where you know what that looks like, you know what that feels like, where people can become addicted to, like, well, I'm always waiting for the shoe to drop. It's like it because of the way that they grew up. So it feels normal. You didn't recognize that, again, that energy is not a good energy. It's like, well, I thought it was excitement, or I thought that it was, where spirit says, no, it would again oppress you, because a person that's not healed wouldn't be able to deal with you in your full embodiment of your best self. It wouldn't be able to. And you have to really love yourself enough to do it, because there's always going to be people that don't love themselves enough to do what they need to do for themselves. So they will ask you to compromise, again, because of some sabotaging behavior that they created for themselves due to the habits and behaviorisms that they refuse to heal. I mean, this isn't the first time that this person has gone through that. And so, but you may have be always that person that's like, well, I'm always the fixer, the healer. And Spirit says, don't you do it. You'll be abandonment of self, and the consequences will be enormous, because you already know. Spirit says it's time to live authentically, boldly, unafraid to be yourself. Live out loud. I need you to be a magnet of who and what you want to come into your life, not the trauma that you grew up in, not that where it feels comfortable. It's like, so what? It feels comfortable. It's like you can sit out in the sun all day too, because it feels comfortable, and then be charred to a crisp, you know, and it's not healthy, is what spirit says. It's like you deserve more, you deserve better. And spirit says create and cleanse a tranquil area for reflection, because it's all about connecting to the higher self. The higher self is the God part of self. We meditate to, you know, I very rarely do I hear God talk to me when I meditate. I'm not going to lie, but it's more about getting yourself into that relaxed state. Most of the time, we don't even know what that feels like, because my job, the relationship, my family, the this. So we're not even in our body. We're in our head. And if we grew up in an environment that there was stress, we don't even know what our body feels like. So we want to get into the habit of doing the Silva Ultramind method to get you down to the theta level of the mind, so that you can connect to the higher self. This way, when there's a problem, you're still going to have anxiety, because that's who you are. However, you'll still go to work and do the things that you have to do. And when you are doing those things, you will get intuition, and you will recognize that. And healing comes from getting that strong connection to the higher self, and then seeing a good result, meaning like only in the now do you get divine guidance through gut intuition, inner knowing, and you act on that inner knowing. Because after that higher self gives you that intuitive message, there's always a call to action after. That's the difference between anxiety and intuition. So we get comfortable. So, which means that you have to get back into your body. Again, remember, if you grew up with that ancestral karma, there's going to be a disconnect from the physical world, the physical body, the physical elements of the physical world. Because again, there were no roots, no structure. So again, which is why this person likes unstructured relationships, which you don't want. It's like, yes, because again, create the sacred space. Spirit says, because you don't get strong by creating strong environment. You get strong by creating strong self. So you can go with the flow of life, because you don't have control over your environment or the people in your environment. And people will always want you to do what they want you to do. That's going to benefit them. That's how the world is made. Don't become part of the world. Be in the world without becoming a part of it. And you can do that through your passion. So again, do that when you live authentically and boldly. You find yourself. You create yourself more. Again, it's all about releasing the limiting beliefs that no longer serve you. How you grew up in that environment. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough. All victim state consciousness. Being conditioned to have self-sabotaging behaviorisms. It's not that your parents meant to do that. That's handed down, and it's mainly inherited through collective karma. So they didn't know any better. But there's a war on consciousness now that spirit says, you know, I come again through the character of man, through the character of love, that there's spiritual war happening now. So you have to really embody the energy of love, and that will help you release the limiting beliefs that no longer serve you, that keep you in a place of believing that you're not deserving when that's impossible. That's self-sabotaging, because there's no separation between you and your creator. You actually have spiritual sovereignty to be able to create what you imagine. If you can imagine it, you can create it. Why are you imagining that? Spirit says. So it's, again, you're on the right path. You might have to create your own way, but understand God always makes a way where there is no way just for you. But it happens when you're on the path. And it's bringing you the people and the situations and the experiences that change your mind and your heart to bring you everything that you need. Not what you want, but what you need to revert your energy back to the energy of love. So those karmic mates, those past life karmic mates, do hold purpose. But for this one, Spirit says not to be in a relationship with them. That's for damn sure. It's to learn how to navigate through difficulties, to go with the flow of life, and to be at peace with yourself and be like, hey, that's that person's issue, not mine. It's, again, because you grew up in that environment, but you made their issue your issue, not because you meant to, because you weren't taught any other way. And so Spirit says, well, you're getting this person. You're going to let their chaos, again, and by being the fixer and help, well, I'll only help sometimes on Tuesdays and Fridays. From 1 till 3, Spirit says, no. It's like, again, the energy goes to you. Healing doesn't feel good a lot of times, because you'll be like, well, I like to help. And it's like, I feel like it's wrong. And Spirit says, yeah, because you were programmed in an environment to self-sabotage yourself, because that's what they did. So Spirit says you better not do it, because you're not going to like it. That's why your gut already knows. But sometimes our gut knows and we say, but I don't really like that answer. Can I get another answer? And Spirit says, it's still the same answer. Like it's, so we end off with one more message. And that is elevation. Free yourself from fear and trust the universe. Direct your thought to the beauty inside and around you. Use your spiritual strength and knowledge to create light and rise above all doubt. So this relationship was to help you evolve. And it was a spiritual, again, test. And that's the way that we elevate. We have to go through the karmic tests. So you were brought up in a certain family. You were conditioned to be a certain way. And parents, it's not a blame game, but we have to understand where it came from, because we have to bypass the reptilian mind, because the reptilian mind is going to be like, I don't want to do any healing. Everything's fine the way that it is. It's like, so we have to bypass that by saying, well, this is, is not. It's imbalanced. And then we have to integrate the spiritual lesson. And the spiritual lesson is to create a whole new you. That's how you, release the chains of those core beliefs, that bind you to that ancestral karma. We break the chains by becoming our true sense and not afraid to live out loud, to be our true self, our higher self, regardless if our parents don't like it, or our friends don't like it, or whoever doesn't like it, because they might not be supposed to stay in your life forever. Remember, you get the family you're born into to learn, and then there's the family that you choose. And then sometimes you're lucky and you get to keep the family that you were born into. I was not. So again, because my spiritual sovereignty was reliant on the fact that I got away from people that wanted me to live from a lower state of consciousness, and accept the bare minimum and stay in a place of hurt. Because, hey, I love this person, even though they're an alcoholic, even though they keep getting cancer and they don't do anything. And it's like being in a relationship by myself. I'd rather stay bitter because I don't love myself enough. I love this person enough. And that's the sabotaging behavior that would have been passed on here in this story, where Spirit says, it's up to you. You can, you have free will to choose. So don't complain if you choose this person, because you already know. And again, you must choose yourself. Be true to you, because the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. You have to honor yourself, love yourself. Yeah, and sometimes it's hard, because sometimes we're like, I don't really, I'm lonely. And the Spirit says, it's a test. It's like, but you shouldn't be lonely if you're embodying the energies of love and going out and finding yourself and living out loud, being true to yourself. Because then you'll be meeting people and situations that resonate with who you are today. But there's always a space between what you sow to what you reap. So in that space, don't sabotage yourself because you're saying, oh, well, there's nothing here. Spirit says it will take a little time, but it's again in that quiet, create that tranquil space so you really get clear on what it is that you want within your life, because you can have it now. That's why this person's coming into your life now, almost like the devil is coming in now, to be like, are you going to give that up, or are you going to give, because it's a whole new life, or you can stay bound to that, and no one wants to stay bound to that. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you for joining me. If you resonated or liked the video, give it a like. Check out my products, by the way. I have Healing the Effects of Psychic Trauma book. Has half my bio in it, and the other half of the book is healing modalities. And understand only half the book is written because I wanted to write the other half when my husband passed away, and he just passed away last year. So I'm in the process of writing it. Then there is the Psychic Soul Healer Oracle System. It comes with 68 cards in the deck titled under Transpersonal Psychology. They're so pretty. So again, they have the shadow words on them. And then there's a Christian metaphysical healing book and embody the words of Christ consciousness, because one day heaven will be on earth, and it's when the character of man comes through. But there is a spiritual war happening right now, and that's a war on consciousness. And if we're strong in ourselves, then we know we have good discernment, right? And that's what we have to have now, because hey, there's many different narratives going on. And if we're not strong, we can be influenced. So Spirit says, check out all those products. And don't forget, if you like these bracelets, you get 15% off. And all those links, including my Shadow Healing Coaching Program, $7.99 will get you inner child healing, shadow healing, reparenting, and all the healing modalities to help you heal the effects of trauma. Really important, because who the hell wants to be consistent when it comes to breath work and tapping? I know not me, but when it's in a group, it's like, well, we all show up for each other, It's like, doesn't matter, we do it. It's like we get the love and the support emotionally that we didn't get when we went through that trauma. And so it's very therapeutic when you're doing your healing in a group. It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot affordable. And like I said, a lot of times we go through the trauma alone. Here you're healing in a group, and it's a beautiful thing. So I want to thank you guys. Check out all those goodies in the description box. And until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Be true to you. Love yourself. Again, you have to do that so that you'll attract someone that loves you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Joy and sunny days and thank you for a video. Take care. Oh, it's okay. Like, he was older than me. I mean, I'm sad, but he lived a life before I was ever born. My husband was 22, 25 years older than me. And so he was a real soulmate. I loved him. He loved me. We knew, but I also took care of him in hospice, so I saw like when his body, what he wasn't the same and he wasn't comfortable anymore. So I think that that helps with the grieving process a little bit when you go through that, when you see that the person was suffering. So let's see. I didn't get a chance to read any, and I'm glad that I've been helping you, Danielle. And so yeah. All right. I think I got everyone. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.